Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. You could have been, you know what I always say. Um, truth is, it wasn't that funny the first time. Okay, so, mm, okay. All right, let's see who's here first. Carol Lund, thank you so much for being here first. All right. Hello to Mama Janet. Lydia Washington, Connie Bomber, Ingrid Sowers, Angela M64, Mary H, and a bunch of other people. Anyway, as usual, I don't think we'll be here more than an hour. Okay. Hmm. Oh, there we go. Boom. Well, I don't think I'm going to need to go shopping for a little while. I took care of everything I needed to take care of today, and then some. Um, Gosh, I must have gone to like four different stores, I think. I went to the Asian market, Trader Joe's. I went to the regular family grocery store. Not that Trader Joe's isn't, but um, a Chicago based store. Um, Gosh, they've been around for how many years has it been? About 125 years? Yeah, I think so. Very old grocery store chain. Of course, they do have a new parent company, so it's not, the old family that owned it. Okay, Jules, how long have they been around? Let me see. What? There's one that's open 24 hours? Guards and staff, helpful and pleasant. I didn't think they had any more open for 24 hours, but there's one. Oh, two of them. Well, I ain't going up there. What? Oh my God. I did not know that. Oh boy, I shouldn't have seen that. See, that's what I get for looking. Most of the 24-hour grocery stores, they closed them like around midnight. Or well, 11 p.m., midnight, 10 p.m. because, people don't know how to act. Um I did not know that. Too far away though. But in case I ever do need it, at least I know it's there. Huh. Wow. That's what I get for looking. Shouldn't have looked at that. Oh well. Let me see. How long have they been around? You know how curious I get. Mm, Let me do a wiki. Okay, Wikipedia says 185 stores. Uh, oh, that's weird. It doesn't say how long. Huh. Interesting. Well, never mind then. Oh, they're owned by Albertsons now. Oh, it looks like they were established in 1899. Is that right? Huh. Okay. All righty then. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, I'm doing the podcast, right? All right. Where was I? Hey, Maurice Brown. All right. So do not forget, it is October. That is breath, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I repeat, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Um, so for the entire month of October, this is when you're supposed to, make sure that you are conscious and aware of testing, self examination, and so on. Okay? That's what this month is about. Um, and I will be reminding about that most days. Most days. Okay? All right. 125-year-old as the original Jewel Tea Company was founded in 1899. Thank you so much for that, Ultimate TV. Now, um, some years ago, they had an advertisement. Actually, it was an ad campaign to celebrate. Oh gosh, was it 50 years? No, 75 years. No, 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 no. It was. Can that be right? I think it was the 50 years. No, oh, I think it was 60. Well, anyway, I think it was 75 years. I think it was 75 years. I think. Well, anyway, whatever it was, um, I met the couple that they used for the ad campaign to celebrate some milestone for the grocery store chain. Walgreens started in Chicago. Yes, Walgreens started in Chicago. I forgot the year, but Charles Walgreens, that was his name. A lot of big companies originated in Chicago. Radio flyer wagons, remember those red wagons, right? Schwinn bicycles, that started in Chicago. Motorola, makers of televisions, radios, and emergency responder devices and such, pagers, cell phones, they started in Chicago. Let me see. Western Electric, they had that huge factory on the west side. Let me see. And George Pullman was from Chicago, of the famous Pullman rail car. There are Pullman rail cars all over the world. Pullman now is kind of just like a very generic brand name, but the original Pullman was definitely about luxury. Pullman was the one who perfected the luxury rail car, heated, upholstered with velvet, and oh man, you name it. They spared no expense to make it the most luxurious way to travel on a train. Let me see. Anyway, if you could think of some other companies, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Um, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. McDonald's Corporation. McDonald's started in California, but the corporate McDonald's, after it was bought out by Ray Kroc, the corporation McDonald's originated in Chicago. And their headquarters are still in Chicago. Um, Gosh, there's so many companies. I could just go on all day, but I won't. Like Weber Kettles, barbecue grills, I won't do that. Um, I mean, we got to get some stuff done, right? Right. Okay. Again, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Um, Let me tell you something about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the moms up above and oh no, I'm sorry, moon up above, not mom. Nobody's mom up above. Moon up above. Um, Can you believe something as sweet as this might actually cause controversy? Controversy? That's English for controversy. Controversy, right? Something like this could actually cause a spot of bother. That's English for irritating. A spot of bother. Um, anyway, you have to forgive me. I don't really speak English. It's not my first language. Um, I'm an American, so I don't really speak English. Um, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes, yes, yes. The spot of bother. How could this have caused injury to anyone? How can someone have been emotionally injured by this? Well, I mean, if you look there, the Duchess of Sussex just wanted to tell you about a little thing called love, right? But leave it to the derangers. Her penmanship is atrocious as ever. Oh, that was clever. And then what is the other one? I had to ask someone to decipher it for me. I wish I hadn't bothered. And then lastly, I can't even read her. What is that? Foligraphy? Foligraphy. Oh, that's clever. Communication clearly isn't her strong point. Hmm. Well, well, well. How about it? The haters are out and they even have their claws extended. Um, you guys, Meghan is so applauded by so many people for her lovely penmanship. Do you know that people were asking if it was possible that Meghan could create a font because some of the squatties love her penmanship so much that they were hoping that there was a possibility that we could have a font that we are able to use to write letters or whatever. But leave it to the haters. Leave it to the haters. I bet you none of these people could ever say that they earned a living because of their penmanship. If Megan's penmanship is so atrocious, how was she able to earn a living as a calligrapher, among other things? How is that possible? Yeah, that's what I thought. Um, it's always the haters. The like this one right here. That is, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to something we call a Jan Moir. Blah. Jan Blah. Jan was doing a little vignette for the Daily Mail page. Um, and look at all of the faces that she. I mean, look at her face right there. This is her describing Megan's penmanship. She says, "Oh, and I just hate her calligraphy. It's just something so sinister about it." Are you serious? Are you serious? I mean, I know, I understand that you're required to say something, something. Uh, yes, time is not her friend, but I know she's required to just say something at all times. But the thing is, just because they ask you doesn't mean you have to. Otherwise, people are going to assume that you are
bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
someone is going to assume that you are bitter, bitter, bitter. Um, I mean, no offense to Jan, but if I was her, I would lay low. I'm not even going to say why because that is self evident. I don't need to say why. The reason is so obvious, I don't even need to say it. But it just seems like you would leave people alone, right? Just leave people alone. Nobody's twisting your arm, begging you to say something nasty. You choose to do that for the almighty paycheck. I mean, you think about the alleged background of hers. Um, it has been speculated for some time that what we call Jan Moore is the product of a late night tryst between um, a Hollywood actor and some woman from the UK, which is why I have often thought that she is likely, I mean, I can't prove it, but I've believed that she is likely the love child of Jack Elam and God knows who. Yeah, I haven't identified the mother yet, but um, if she, you know, believes that the people that raised her are her birth parents, I think she ought to probably take some DNA, take a DNA test, and establish for certain that her parents are her real parents. Otherwise, I am I am convinced that Jack Elam, the famous Hollywood character actor, is um is her real father. Yeah. The resemblance is obvious. Obvious. I think it's that very determined chin. You see what I'm saying? See how they have that very determined chin? That's where I can really see the resemblance. There's something about that not so noble chin of theirs. Any other than that, I can't really see anything else that would really connect the two of them. But uh, other than that, I can't think of anything that would connect them. But it's just a real shame that she constantly goes to the dark side. Um, there doesn't seem to be any light or love in her life. Has there ever been love in her life? Or is she always free on Friday nights and Saturday nights and Sunday mornings and Monday mornings, Monday nights, all of Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and then again on Friday practically all day. Yeah. I um I would love to see what she calls the love life. I really would. Only because she's so smart, you know. She's so smart. Men are intimidated by, gosh, I can barely say it, intelligent. Men are intimidated by intelligence. That's right. She's too intelligent for the average man. They're so intimidated by her. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Now that I've put the word out about the actor Jack Elam, maybe next time she goes on one of those dating apps, maybe they won't read her credentials and scroll the other way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm pretty sure most people are just fascinated with her when she's on the dating app. They just cannot, you know, resist. But when they realize that she's so smart, that she's a very brainy person, they probably just swipe away. More like a swat, more like, you know, just like with a fly swatter. They just swat right or left, however you do that to go to the next person. Because she's so smart and clever. So that's why it's hard for her to get a date. And that and the fact that the late Hollywood actor Jack Elam some people don't like Hollywood types, so she got that working against her too. Um, anyway, yeah. So another thing about that Jan Moore that really works my nerves is that it's not only that she kind of punches above her pay grade to go after Meghan, but right here, why does Meghan Markle need to be so huggy wuggy? Huggy wuggy? How old is she? Huggy wuggy? I cannot tell you the last time that I, an adult baby boomer, have used the term huggy wuggy. And then on top of that, I would like to know, is she so mean because she's not getting that many huggy wuggies lately? Is that like Jan Moore bedroom talk? Huggy wuggy, huggy wuggy. Could you imagine her using that for bedroom talk? Huggy wuggy. Ugh, ugh. Ooh, I can barely keep my food down. Yeah. Is that like, bedroom talk for her? Huggy wuggy. I said huggy wuggy. Oh, God. Anyway, who uses the term huggy wuggy? Now, over here on the left, oh, what a breathtaking shamelessness. The person the queen most needs protection from is the smirking assassin, Prince Harry himself. Smirking assassin? Now, I have to say, that is some very clever writing, but are you sure you want to go after Prince Harry like that? Or how about this one? Meddling stars like Meghan and AOC just aren't as influential as they like to think. Um, I would like to say that AOC is very influential as a member of Congress. I believe more people know AOC around the world than there are people who know Jan Moore around the world. And that being said, I'm sure there are more people who want to know AOC than there are people who want to know Jan Moore. But let's stay with it. Let's stay with it. Where was she going with that? She says that much titeration because the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are featured in Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential list for 2021. But why? It was only a matter of time before the couple honored in these most spiritless of non awards, honored in the most spiritless of non awards, the global equivalent of a milk monitor badge or a good attendance certificate. Oh, is that why the jealousy? Because someone has never gone much further when it comes to being celebrated. I think we have a real milk monitor or the good attendance certificate winner. Well, I could imagine that someone like a Jan Moore is usually never late for anything. She never has a reason to be late. It's not like she's up in the late hours of the night in the throes of passion. No, I doubt it. So, yeah. So, of course, she's on time for everything. I mean, after all, there's not much outdoor activity for her, obviously. Um, I mean, and I could imagine she probably has several cats to feed, and she's always like going through recipes and cutting out coupons. Not much of a life for a Jan Moore, other than going after people that are minding their business. So yeah. And then, of course, it continues. Why even the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge made the list back in 2011? Actually, Kate has been on it 3 times, along with such fellow visionaries and global motivators as former Prime Minister David Cameron, Bruno Mars, Sting, and Colin Firth. But no Jan Moore. Nope, no Jan Moore. The only list that Jan Moore has made, and I can't prove this, but because she found something as obscure as milk monitor and good attendance, I'm thinking that she probably made those lists and not much else. Wow. What a very, very shallow life some of these royal reporters lead. Yeah. And then lastly, um, if you look at the one on the right there, it says, I know he's a charismatic gnome, but even a Hollywood A-lister devoted to daredevilry, Tom Cruise gives me the creeps. Tom Cruise gives you the creeps? Tom Cruise gives you the creeps. Now, I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said that. If I was a talented writer who never dates, whose only celebration in life is Milk Monitor, and of course the what was the other one? Good attendance, perfect attendance list. If that was my highest achievement, you know, the fact that I never date because I'm so much more smarter than most guys. Yeah. Anyway, that's the reason why she don't date that much. If I was her, I wouldn't say to anybody in life that Tom Cruise gives me the creeps. That takes nerves. That's a wicked level of nerves. Um, but she went there. She went there. I don't know if Tom Cruise. Well, no, I know he's never seen any of this trashy stuff she writes. But if Tom Cruise gives you the creeps, I wonder what you give Tom Cruise. Pretty much anything you could offer him, he probably would not want it. Because he doesn't like brainy, smart, intelligent women like that. That's all. Nothing else. Um, he would be intimidated by you because you are such a talented writer. Yes, that's it. Because you're such a talented writer, he might find it intimidating. But wow. Okay. Well, she went there, and every so often, I like to remind people that she went there. She said that Tom Cruise gave her the creeps. Tom Cruise gave Jan Moore. I don't think y'all heard me. Is this thing working? I said Tom Cruise, someone who's made the sexiest man alive list in the past, someone who's still very well known for his boyish good looks. Tom Cruise gives her the creeps. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, Jan, we see you. We see you. I mean, we hear you. We hear you. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, girl, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, listen. Um, we got to make our money somehow. And she's a very talented creative writer. And I'm not just being funny. I think she is a very talented writer. It's just some of the stuff that she says is so, I don't know, creepy. It kind of makes me want to just, yeah, it kind of just makes me want to just stop and look at her. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like that, that's all you could do is just look. That's all you could do is you just mind your business and then you just read something like Tom Cruise gives me the creeps, right? Right. Okay. Well, she said what she said. Tom Cruise gives her the creeps. Jan Moore, I know he's a charismatic gnome, but even as a Hollywood A-lister devoted to daredevilry, Tom Cruise gives me the creeps. Okay, girl. We heard you. Now, the Daily Mail invents Meghan Sussex identity crisis while excusing Kate Middleton's low work rate. Yes, her low, that's code for lazy. Okay. So Feminagra says the Daily Mail has once again tried to diminish Meghan Sussex with the latest portrayal of her as a woman caught between two invented roles, celebrity royal or a royal celebrity. The paper claims that her 2019 maternity leave, her guest editing of British Vogue, and her friendship with global stars proved to be a fatal pivot to self promotion. Oh, that's interesting. Self promotion. You mean to tell me William has just done some type of interview where he just told a bunch of people how tough his year was, but Meghan is okay. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see where this is going. This framing is more than misleading. It is a continuation of the hostile press strategy that has dogged Meghan since her wedding while shielding the royal family and Kate Middleton from similar scrutiny. Truth is clear. Meghan was scapegoated for her visibility and impressive work, while others in the institution were given indulgence despite doing far less. So, exactly what did the Daily Mail say? The Daily Mail said Meghan's love for the limelight following her previous life on TV appeared to spark a irrevocable identity crisis for the Sussexes that still lingers more than 7 years on. In the midst of her long British maternity leave in 2019, and just 2 months after the birth of Archie, both Meghan and Harry were pictured greeting pop icon Beyonce at the Lion King premiere in London. Questions were also raised over why the Duchess has carried out a mere 22 royal engagements in 7 months she spent as an unpaid guest editor of Vogue compared to Kate, who managed 42 engagements during her own maternity leave. Oh, so in other words, we're going to try to revisit. We're going to try to revisit Meghan's time in the family. Um, Also, we are going to, I guess, forget about Meghan traveling while pregnant, even going to what was it, Morocco, because they didn't want anyone else in the family, right? Now, as far as what they're calling engagements, um, I'm finding this very hard to believe. This is the Daily Mail. Um, I don't know how their math is mathing and what they're calling engagements, because bear in mind, an engagement is a Zoom call. An engagement may be going to an event and doing nothing but sitting there. And how many times have they counted engagements for Kate where there is no proof that there was ever a meeting, that anyone came to visit her, or that she's done anything at all? So, like I said, whatever this curious math is, it seems to me as though they are trying to push that lazy branding that she has. They're trying to push that over onto Meghan, right? They're trying to project. Yes, they're projecting the lazy over to Meghan. One of the things that has happened to Will and Kate in the past year, even though they have tried to use the cancer card, is that people are on to the laziness again. There are some people who never forget the fact that they were branded as lazy. And some of the people that have been defending them as of late, or actually have been defending them since Meghan showed up, all of those people recognize the fact that they were the same ones that called her Waity Katie and lazy. So no matter how you try to shift this over to Meghan, no matter how much projection you attempt, we all know who the lazy ones in the family are. I wonder if they're going to compare those numbers to, I don't know, King Charles while going through cancer treatment, or Queen Elizabeth while terminally ill from cancer. Why don't we compare um, maternity Kate with, um, well, I mean, I hate to say it, but terminally ill Queen Elizabeth? Why don't we compare those numbers and see what comes up? There is no comparison. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is ridiculous. But anyway, let me see what Femnegra has to say. Royals and the celebrity double standard. The idea that Meghan somehow crossed an invisible line by associating with celebrities collapses under the weight of royal history. Diana's friendship with Elton John and George Michael were celebrated as part of her glamour. Charles cultivated ties with public figures, including Jimmy Savile, thank you, Feminagra, whose later exposure as a prolific made that association deeply troubling in hindsight. William and Kate invite footballers, pop stars, and actors to their high profile events and even appear at film premieres such as James Bond, No Time to Die, or Top Gun, Maverick Red Carpet. Yet their ties to celebrities are never framed as a crisis of identity. Oh, you know what makes this so weird? Meghan was on a television series for 7 years, right? She was on a TV series for 7 years. So if anybody has a connection with Hollywood, it should be Meghan. Not to mention, let's face it, Meghan is from LA. Her mother worked in the industry doing makeup and even the yoga. We don't know how many famous people that Meghan ran into just through her mother, not to mention her father working on Married with Children. In regards to the film industry and television, Hollywood is a small town. It's like a small town. Everybody knows somebody. When you're in those industries, you're always running into people. So for them to assume that this person is someone, they love to play this game of, well, Megan didn't really know them until such and such and such and such. You don't know that. Didn't we find out that Doria went to the same church that that Oprah used to go to, or something like that? Wasn't it somewhere their paths had crossed before? I mean, you look at the Kris Jenner. Look at Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner hustled in Hollywood. And didn't she like have some trouble with the Braxtons or something like that? Because she used to work as their assistant or something to that effect. But she hustled. She knew a lot of people long before reality TV came calling. But they don't know this and they don't care to know it. They just would rather assume that everything Meghan has today is because she married into the royal family. Nothing was going on for Meghan until she met Harry. So that whole thing about speaking at the United Nations, World Vision, all that kind of stuff, oh, that was just a fluke, right? Right. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, if that's what they need to believe, but that's what they're doing. This is revisionist history. They're trying to rewrite the history, and they want people to believe that Meghan didn't know anybody until the very big platform that she was gifted by the royal family. Let me see here. What did I leave off? Okay. When Meghan and Harry greeted Beyonce at the London premiere, it became fodder for claims that she was chasing fame. When they stayed at Elton John's villa, tabloids branded them hypocrites. Yet this outrage rings hollow given the royal family's long record of enjoying celebrity proximity. The problem is not Meghan's circle of friends, but the racialized double standard applied to her. A Black woman in elite spaces was always going to be framed as too much by the media that has historically struggled to accept diversity within the monarchy. Now, the maternity leave and the workload smear. The male's fixation on Meghan's 2019 engagements as particularly disingenuous, is particularly disingenuous. She was on maternity leave carrying a newborn, yet still completed 22 engagements. More importantly, she curated British Vogue Forces for Change issue, which became the fastest selling in the magazine's history. I repeat, the fastest selling Vogue in the history of British Vogue was that issue, Forces for Change. It was unpaid. It elevated women leaders. It showcased her ability to use her platform for meaningful impact. By contrast, Kate has faced years of criticism for a weak work ethic. She was nicknamed the Duchess Doolittle long before Meghan arrived. Even Queen Elizabeth reportedly pushed Kate to take on more responsibilities. Yet Meghan, who balanced motherhood and an ambitious editorial project and countless royal engagements, is painted as lazy, while Kate is spared scrutiny. Her numbers today remain low and stark. The idea Meghan was uniquely failing in her royal duties collapses when set against her record. Um, she co created the best selling Together Our Community cookbook with the Hub Community Kitchen, spotlighted women's employment through SmartWorks, championed animal welfare at Mayhew, and supported the arts as patron of the National Theater. In her first year, she carried out over 100 public engagements, took part in overseas tours. She also helped expand the monarchy's outreach to younger and more diverse audiences. Her speeches on gender equality and mental health, along with her advocacy that influenced policy debates, showed she was using her platform to drive meaningful impact far beyond ribbon cutting. Media framing and institutional complicity. Studies show Meghan's treatment by the press was harsher than any modern royal. Guardian, the Guardian found that between 2018 and 2020, she received twice as many negative headlines as positive ones. Another review revealed that 72% of the stories about her in 2019 were unfavorable, compared to only 8% for Kate. Even the smallest gesture were weaponized. Meghan cradled her pregnancy bump, was called vain. When Kate did the same thing, she was praised as nurturing. The coverage was not accidental. Palace insiders routinely briefed against Meghan while defending Kate. When speculation about Botox swirled around Kate, a palace spokesperson shut it down. When Meghan was targeted by racist online abuse, palace aides stayed silent and downplayed the reality. Um, the protection given to one duchess and denied to other is still disturbing to this day. The monarchy benefited from Meghan being cast as a villain. It distracted from internal tensions, shielded Kate from her own weak record, and reinforced the image of the family as unchanging and white. Final thoughts? The final thoughts are this: the Daily Mail's attempted to brand Meghan as a celebrity royal ignores reality. She worked, she innovated, and she faced a level of scrutiny that was unmatched and unjustified. The real reason was never whether Meghan chose celebrity over royalty. The real issue was the press machine that punished her for being effective, modern, and visible. The royal family that allowed her to be sacrificed for its own survival. Meghan Sussex's story is not one of failure, but systematic resistance. She was a woman of color who brought fresh ideas into an institution built on hierarchy and exclusion. The backlash says less about her choices and more about the institution and press determined to silence her. Hmm. Well, thank you, Feminagra. Once again, Feminagra always strikes the right note, which is why I ask you very kindly to sign up for their newsletter so you won't miss these articles. You can go directly to them. Now, look at here. Princess Anne makes top secret visit to Ukraine. King's sister meets with President Zelensky and attends moving memorial for children weeks after Prince Harry's trip to the country. Well, well, well. Is this why they wanted to make sure that they made it secret that Harry visited? Possibly had a visit with Zelensky. Remember when Harry left the group and a whole bunch of security accompanied him? Well, there was speculation that he went to go and meet with Zelensky, but of course, there were no photographs, as that would have been, well, I think they had probably thought about it and wanted to make sure that if any member of the royal family were to meet with Zelensky, it could not be Harry. So here we are. Princess Anne was given the honor of meeting with Zelensky. And you know what? You know what? I'm pretty sure that upon consideration, because William was outraged that he was not allowed to go to Ukraine before Harry. He thought that that should have been something that he was allowed to do, not his brother. Yeah, he was very upset about that. But you see, Ukraine is a war zone. I mean, let's face it. If you're going to send someone there, it cannot be someone that is, shall we say, delicate, right? It can't be someone who lacks authority. It cannot be someone who's, for lack of a better word, a punk, right? You want to send someone with some real grit. So that's why they sent Princess Anne. I mean, because William, he'd go there trying to be George S. Patton, but by the time he gets there, the first thing he wants to do is order a pulled pork sandwich. And I think people are on to the pulled pork sandwich. So, yeah, they needed someone with a little more grit, not William. He'd only embarrass the royal family. You know what I mean? He's too soft, if you know what I mean. He's a little bit too soft. And this requires someone with a stronger constitution. I mean, after all, it's a war zone. Um, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it without saying it. It's a war zone. So why would you send that wimp when you can send Princess Anne, someone who's rugged, rough and tumble, Princess Royale, not someone who's chasing a pulled pork sandwich? He'd only cause a distraction. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Uh, uh, so yeah, they wanted someone with cat-like reflexes, someone who had a firm handshake. One of the guys. So they chose Princess Anne. It doesn't get more complicated than that. Let me see. And listen, Harry went over there with a great deal of authority. I mean, he looked like he belonged. William, not so much. Hmm. I'm trying to find just the right image to convey what I'm thinking, what I'm saying. So, hmm. This will do it. This will do it. There you go. That they didn't want that. They didn't want that. That they did not want. And they didn't want someone obsessed with pulled pork sandwiches. So anyway, as you could imagine, Princess Anne made sure she brought gifts. Um, First, there was a good firm handshake, right? Although one of the things that may have caused a bit of controversy, uh, Princess Anne was still wearing her knuckle dusters, her brass knuckles. Um, Knowing that she's going to a war zone, Princess Anne likes to be prepared. So, in case somebody started something, she sometimes, she's not even conscious of it, but sometimes when she puts her hands in her pocket, she comes out with those brass knuckles. So, that could happen to anyone who carries brass knuckles. Um, but let's face it, they're in a war zone. And Princess Anne likes to be prepared. Also, there's probably no chance that she could get her hair done while she's there. So, of course, she does her own hair, and she's very proud of that. As they say, it only takes her about 15 minutes, even under the worst of circumstances. And as I said, Princess Anne always comes bearing gifts. So she gave Zelensky a carton of Newports. Yeah. I guess on her way out of there, she probably thought, well, with war, there's always rationing and such. What is it I can give Zelensky that he has been having trouble accessing because of war and sanctions or whatever from Russia? So she brought him a box of Newports, which I thought was very, very thoughtful. Yeah, a little carton of Newports goes a long way. Now that is what I call diplomacy. See there? That was very sweet. Look at how moved he is. Look at his face. He is, you know what I'm saying? He's about to break down. He's almost in tears that Princess Anne presented him a box of Newports. And then right here, um, yeah, that's true. William wouldn't have believed that there was any war in Europe because that only happens in Africa and Asia. So William probably wouldn't have believed it anyway. You can see Anne looking over the shoulder of this guy lifting those dumbbells, and you could see the look on her face. Anne is saying, "That's all you got?" Now, Anne could easily lift a 50-pound dumbbell. That does not impress her. 50-pound dumbbells, that's more Princess Anne. But that little, what is that, 10 pounds that he's lifting? You see, look at her face. She's not impressed at all. Her face is saying, "That's all you got? Huh? Huh, bruh? That's all you got? Come on, bruh. That's all you got?" But, you know, I'm pretty sure that this trip was very nostalgic for Princess Anne, and no doubt she was thinking about those days when she used to model for um, Newports, the days when she and a few other people with afros kind of, you know, had that camaraderie. We have afros, we're people of color, and we smoke Newports. They have that nice menthol taste. So, no doubt that Princess Anne was, thinking about the good old days when a pack of squares was less than $1. Unlike today, where in some states they're $7. I don't know how much they cost in the UK, but it was a simpler time. And Anne was younger and had more free time and such, but now she's the Princess Royale, so she don't have a lot of time for her old friends. And what about her boyfriend that she gave up? Um, Obviously, when it was time to get married, Princess Anne could not, back in those days, it would have been impossible for a woman of color to bring a man of color into the family. So she she had to leave this hunk of loving behind. But yeah, but somewhere out there, there's this man with his Motorola flip phone, and of course his Newport Couture suit, thinking about Princess Anne, and of course she thinking of him. And anyway, Anne has a bit of a past. I'm pretty sure it would make for a good. It would make a great book, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would make a great book. uh, and Anne was a bit disappointed because she actually brought her Napoleon uniform. She thought that she might be able to lead the cavalry, but Zelensky, unfortunately, Zelensky had to let her know that we don't actually use horses in this war. So, yeah, but Princess Anne was all prepared to lead the troops into battle, but unfortunately, um, they're not using horses in this conventional modern war. So, um, unfortunately, she never had a chance to get her Napoleon Bonaparte uniform out. But she was ready. I mean, she was ready. I mean, if anybody, you know what I'm saying? If anybody is ready for battle, it's Princess Anne. She's got her knuckle dusters. She has her Newports, and she has her uniform, her Napoleon uniform. But like I said, it just wasn't meant to be. Now we do have a little soundbite for you. I really do admire Princess Anne. She's so courageous. So courageous. Okay.
Yeah, I think what happened, I've always thought this, is that when Meghan and Harry got married, it was such a wonderful day for the whole nation. We all kind of fell in love with them. I think that William and Kate started briefing against them. I really do. William, and I think it went out of control. It went out of.
Isn't that something? Jeremy Vine admitting that William and Kate started briefing against them and that it went out of control. Isn't that something? What an admission. Um Usually he likes to play dumb like he don't know what's going on, but for whatever reason on this occasion he decided to you know to tell the truth. To tell the truth that that Will and Kate have been briefing against him. I don't know why it is so difficult for them to just say that. It's not like they're going to lose any money. It's not like, I mean, there's been plenty of people, including Robert Jobson, that have admitted that there has been a bunch of leaking and briefing. But the thing is, the press on the few occasions that they mentioned the leaking and briefing, it's kind of like not even debated. But when it's the Sussexes, it's in every paper, it's on every panel, every uh, podcast. They won't stop talking about it, even though the Sussexes are not even briefing. But the accusation, just like we've seen with Harry with the visit with Charles, all of a sudden, here comes all these accusations about Harry saying this and none of that is true. So then Harry comes out and disputes it, and they double down. They find something else to lie about. Now, the past couple of days, we have been looking at Tom Sykes, um, and of oh gosh, what is it? Just the um, Duchess of Success, Anne of Duchess of Success. She played the video with Tom Sykes, and I don't know why I didn't notice it before, but I'm like, what the hell is that on his head? Is that like a what did I say it was? A Wi-Fi antenna? And of course, Anne almost screamed laughing. And she said, no, that's probably the 5K. Yeah, I was in the chat when she came on last night, and she is of the opinion that that is his 5K antenna. But then I could not stop looking at it, and so I'm like, has he been going to the same hairstylist that Jermaine Jackson uses? Because it's not as wide as the Jermaine Jackson, but it definitely looked like a row of like boxwood hedges, right? That looks like some boxwood, or what are they? What's those hedges? The ones that they can achieve whatever shape. It's the boxwood. That's what it looks like. It looks like a row of hedges. And Jermaine Jackson seems to suffer from that same hairstyling faux pas. Except for Jermaine Jackson, his hairstyle has more oil than the Exxon Valdez, but I digress. But it maybe it's something else. I don't know if Tom Sykes ever lived in Canada or North America, or for that matter, but if it's not a 5K or Wi-Fi or something like that, and I guess it's probably not a receiver because I didn't see any cables, so maybe that's not what it is. But the reason why I mentioned North America, maybe he used to play hockey, and maybe that's a hockey puck. You think? Maybe he's walking around with a hockey puck on his head. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's a hockey puck. You see what I mean? Because it's not as big as that loaf of bread that big sourdough bun that Jermaine Jackson has on his head. So maybe it's a hockey puck. Or perhaps it's either a hostess ding dong or a hostess ho ho. I'm going to lean toward a ding dong. I'm going to lean toward a ding dong. Because I don't think it's full enough to be a ho ho. So in all likelihood, it's a hostess ding dong. What you think? I am betting that it is a hostess ding dong. But does anybody know if Tom Sykes has been hanging near the what is that, 38th parallel in North Korea, South Korea, because sometimes, as a way to help the North Koreans, sometimes South Korea have those hot air balloons, and well, not hot air balloons, but helium balloons, and they send food and snacks and stuff across the um, demilitarized zone, right? So, what if Tom Sykes went to Korea and went to the border to peer into North Korea, and maybe one of those moon pies landed on his head, and he just haven't noticed yet? That could very well be a moon pie. Maybe it's not a hostess ho ho or a ding dong. Maybe it's not a hockey puck. Maybe it's not a Wi Fi or 5K receiver. Perhaps it's none of those. Maybe it's a moon pie. Hmm? I'm just, I need to sort this out, is all I'm saying. I need to sort this out because otherwise, I don't know if I'll be able to sleep until I figure out what the F that is on his head. Ho ho, ding dong, hockey puck. But there's something on top of his head, and that does not look normal. It didn't look normal when it was Jermaine Jackson. And for years, I thought Jermaine Jackson, um, you won't believe what I thought that was. Take a guess. Take a guess. I've mentioned it before. I've mentioned it before. Anybody? What'd you think? What'd you think? What did I think Jermaine Jackson had on top of his head? Okay, you give? You give? Okay, I'm going to tell you what I thought it was. And no, it wasn't a wheel from Amelia Earhart's plane. I thought it was a York peppermint patty. There's nobody in this world who could not make me believe that Jermaine Jackson wasn't walking around with a York peppermint patty on top of his head. That's what I thought it was. But I certainly did not believe that it was a Wi Fi receiver 5K. I didn't think that it was a hockey puck, nor that I assumed that it was a ho ho or a ding dong, and certainly not a moon pie. Although for Tom Sykes, I'm still thinking moon pie. I thought it was a York peppermint patty. But if not, I'm out of guesses. I'm just out of guesses. I don't know what to think that is. I just know it doesn't look normal. Oh well, you guys. Maybe I got just too much time on my hands. Um. Well, well, well. Look who's on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yes, it's exactly who you think it is. My father is stuck on the 19th floor of a building in the Philippines after a massive earthquake, and he can't walk, and he is trapped. Shame on my disgusting, evil, blanking sister for ever putting our father in this position. I hope she is cursed. Well, um, if I if memory serves me, didn't they say that her father used to travel over to Southeast Asia long before Meghan was on a television show long before Meghan married into the royal family, long before Meghan started her um, recent business ventures. So I thought that Tom Markle, Thomas Markle, was kind of partial to that region anyway. That's what the word on the curb is, that Thomas Markle has an affection for that part of Asia. Okay. Okay. So why are we blaming Meghan again? Nobody told Thomas Markle to crawl up in the bed with the media. Nobody told Thomas Markle to go on television again and again. That was something he chose to do. Just like nobody told Thomas Markle, oh, you know what? Why don't you leave Mexico and go to the Philippines? And I'm pretty sure he has food up on the, what is it, the 19th floor? um, why don't Harry and spend some money and get there something butts in a helicopter and go save my dad? Um, well, listen. One of the squatties said, wait, Harry and Meghan are supposed to get a helicopter and fly to an earthquake zone over 7,000 miles away and hover at the window of a 19th floor apartment so Thomas Sr. can jump out. I'm trying to picture Thomas Markle Sr. jumping out and trying to hop on a helicopter. She's been watching too many movies. Yeah, obviously she's been watching too many movies. Somebody has been watching Die Hard or God knows what, and they're letting their imagination run away with them. Yeah. Somebody has been watching Bruce Willis movies and I don't know, whatever they use to stimulate thought. Um, somebody has been watching too many Bruce Willis movies. I mean, could you imagine Thomas Markle trying to film some kind of action scene? You know what I'm saying? Rolling across the ground like Wesley Snipe and jumping up on both feet and running for it. I couldn't picture it, not Thomas Markle Sr. or Junior. Junior or senior, I couldn't imagine either one of them trying to bust a move. And the other thing is, how could Thomas Markle safely leap to the helicopter or safety rope or ladder or something like that? How could he safely do that? Everybody knows he got that gimpy leg. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows he got that gimpy leg. We all saw it when he went to the what do you call it? When he went to that little grocery store down there in Mexico, when he came out that grocery store with that beer, or when they took a picture of him exiting that Kentucky Fried Chicken. Everybody saw that he got some gimpy legs. So how is he supposed to leap out the window and hop on a helicopter? Even if they wanted to save him, they couldn't. See there? Do you think that leg would be reliable enough? Do you really think that that leg would be reliable enough for him to get that last push before he extends his arms? I mean, and of course, like anybody who's ever injured themselves, what is he going to do? Say to Thomas Markle Jr., uh, hold my beer. Watch this. Ain't that what everybody say before they end up in the emergency room? Watch this and hold my beer. So even if, listen, even if Harry and Meghan had any designs on trying to rescue him, um, I mean, yes, I know the 19th floor is rather high up there, but listen, there is another way. Now, from what I could see when he did that 60 Minutes interview in Australia, Thomas Markle comes equipped with an airbag. So if he could just like get down to a lower floor, he might be able to do a belly flop and survive, you know, an emergency exit. He might be able to survive. I mean, Lord knows he's got a fully deployed airbag. He's got a fully deployed airbag. I mean, he's the only lighting director that comes fully equipped with a flotation device. So, if there was some kind of emergency landing, or if he had to, evacuate from the sea or whatever, either way, he's covered. He's covered. I even heard that the insurance policy that he has for his apartment on the 19th floor, he actually gets an airbag discount. So, what can I say? He's just lucky. So, yeah, maybe he is cursed with that gimpy leg, but he does have that fully deployed airbag. Yep. So it's not all doom and gloom. That's what I'm trying to say, is that it's not all doom and gloom. Why don't Harry and okay, no, that's did that one already. Oh, look at this. Yeah, she's back on the Twitter. This is one of several Twitter accounts that she had. By the way, I want you to notice that for her Twitter, for her slide, I put a bunch of rusty nuts and bolts. You see that behind the pictures? Yeah, something told me for someone who's got a screw loose like her that a backdrop of rusty bolts and, you know, nuts and washers and all that, I thought it would be perfect. So, downgrade. Look at her trying to make fun of Meghan. If Meghan has been so downgraded, maybe she don't have money to help her father. But what about here? Harry and Meghan royal titles have no clout or credibility and should not be used on the world stage, especially since they are not authorized to represent royals. Get these two clowns out of American politics. I'm an American and I support this message. Laugh out loud. So, yeah, um, I don't know what politics she's talking about, but anyway, how supportive of her, how thoughtful of her to go after her sister and her husband like that, or her sister's husband like that, her brother-in-law. Now, take a look here. Prince George exposure to royal life set to be minimized after William and Harry's childhood. Well, today, little George was seen sporting a necktie, and his parents seemed to be doing the very best they could to encourage him in this very awkward situation. um, there is no way that that institution is going to allow George to be invisible um, at a time like this. It's just not possible. George is in training. Hopefully, he won't be as obnoxious and evil as his father, but he's in training. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I mean, I feel for the kid. And actually, I feel sad. I really do feel sad for those kids. Um, but there's no other thing for them. They're as I like to say, their birth is a constitutional thing, right? So there's nothing else. There's just what it is. But hopefully he will have an easier go of it than anybody else that came before him. Queen Elizabeth was worried about Prince William's behavior as a child. According to the Palace Papers by Tina Brown, the Queen expressed concerns that William was out of control in his younger years. Well, we know that to be true. We know that to be true. There's no doubt about it. William was a handful. That's why, what was it, Zandy Sussex, who has that picture of William side by side with the kid that played uh, Damien in the movie The Omen? That's why. An aberration, an anomaly, um, capable of such evil, and that's William. William is just an evil person. He really is. I mean, I hate to say that about anybody, but he's an evil person. Evil. I don't believe that there's any good in him whatsoever, except for they say that he's a good father to his children. I'm just going to believe that and not even question it because two things could be true at the same time. But otherwise, he's an absolute tyrant, evil. All of the things that came out of Kensington Palace that were directed toward Meghan and to a lesser extent Harry, all of that was a product of William's Kensington Palace. I do not doubt that one bit. And if William leads to the decline of the monarchy, I would be so pleased. That would suit me so well to know that it all came to a screeching halt because of William and nobody else. Not Charles, but William, just to see the look on his face. How Queen worried Prince William was out of control as a child. Signs of a brat. Prince William concerned the Queen with his out of control behavior as a child, a royal biographer claims. Huh. So the Sussex Soldier shared these. Sussex Soldier says, there is something off with William. He's not okay. Playing blind to protect him when he's wrong or done something bad has only made things worse. William needs to get mental help. He needs to get mental help. As sovereign, Elizabeth was titular head of the British Armed Forces, and therefore she had the power to grant his requests. The prince said he wanted to do this as beard acted. I'm sorry, do this as his beard acted almost as a security blanket for him, and that Meghan had never seen him without it. When the monarch granted her permission, though it angered Harry's brother, When I informed him that his opinion didn't really matter since I'd already gone to Granny and got her green light, he became livid, Harry wrote. He raised his voice. You went to ask her? Yes. And what did Granny say? She said, keep the beard. You put her in an uncomfortable position, Harold. She had no choice but to say yes, William said, according to Spare. No choice. She's the queen, Harry said. Of his own response, if she didn't want him to have a beard, I think she can speak for herself. But Willie always thought Granny had a soft spot for me, that she indulged me while holding him to an impossible high standard because her heir, Spare, etc., it irked him. The argument went on in person, on the phone, for more than a week. He wouldn't let it go. He went on to add that at one point, William ordered that is, him to shave his beard off, something he flatly refused to do at his brother's request. I'm telling you, shave it off, William allegedly told Harry. For the love of God, Willie, why does this matter so much to you? Because I wasn't allowed to keep my beard. And guess what, you guys? That's it. I am done. But if you guys want to hang out and talk about Willie and his beard, we certainly can do that. I'm going to stick around for a little while. Legs just joined us. Hey, Legs, thank you for joining us. Let me see here. So, yes, if you guys have any last comments, please share them. Ooh, oh. So, anyway, I went shopping today and I bought some of my favorite pot stickers and dim sum. And oh my goodness, I barely have room in the freezer. I could barely get that stuff in there. I had to throw some things out, and some stuff I just had to cook it right away, like some frozen asparagus. I cooked it, ate about half of it, and then tomorrow I'll finish the rest of it. God, it was good though. In a nice olive butter sauce with some garlic, right? And some of that whatever seasoning, the one that's got some of this and some of that seasoning. Yeah, it's like some kind of seasonal stuff. What is it called? Complete. The complete seasoning. That's what I used, was complete. Oh my goodness, I didn't mean to do that. But it was so good. I don't know, it was just so buttery. And it had that nice garlic taste to it. And when I went shopping, I didn't eat anything. I just, walked out the door and I was gone for hours. So by the time I put that stuff on to cook, I was ready for it. Yeah, I guess given the ranking that the family uses, it makes me wonder what other stuff was William ordering Harry to do. And could you imagine that? No matter how capable you are, You are supposed to be totally submissive to your eldest brother, your only brother at that, because he is going to be king. Oh my goodness, that just makes me feel dreadful, the thought of it, because William is so stupid. I mean, he's just not bright. And to have to take marching orders from someone as dense as William, I couldn't. I don't. I wouldn't like. Harry is much smarter than William. He can run faster. He can jump higher. He can always argue the best case, which is why we call him light skinned Harry, because it is those attributes and more that is the reason why, even though this country seems to be going to hell in a handbasket, um, black folks, we kind of used to what's coming. God forbid that that is what's coming, but it's going to be a shock to a lot of Americans what they have planned for this country. But there is a rich oral history within our households as African Americans that we kind of know what's up. But it's going to come as a shock to the rest of these people. A total shock. I was nearly brought to tears earlier, and you won't believe why. I actually watched a highlight of the meeting that they had with all of the military um, generals and admirals and such, all of the high ranking brass. They had a meeting today. And it made me very sad because it's a reminder of the state of things. It was so pathetic. And this person that it was addressing them, the person that was addressing them, the occupant of the White House, didn't seem qualified to be there, is not qualified to be there, but under the Constitution, he is. But, you know, yeah, it, it, um, it was kind of a sick feeling. All I could think of was if only um, Dwight Eisenhower could see this. If only Dwight Eisenhower was alive to see this. Lex says, I also think about how William behaved in front of the press when he is there with Harry. He purposely lies on Harry to the press, put him down. Yet William didn't like when the press said something about him. Yeah. That is it was very sad to see that. It was very sad to see that because there's Harry trying to give the consideration to his brother that his brother does not deserve, has never deserved, but because of the training and the family traditions and such, he had to downplay his intelligence just so that William could seem more in charge and uh, that's not easy to watch. Definitely not easy. And if it's not easy to watch it, imagine what it was like to experience that real time for Harry. And maybe that's the, you know, among other things, because I'm sure there's more. But maybe that is why there's so much intense hostility for Meghan, because surely Meghan was like, you have options. You don't have to stay here. If it wasn't for Meghan, I don't think he would have believed that there was anything else out there. He had resolved himself that he was going to give up on any personal happiness and serve Queen Elizabeth. That's what he was planning to do with his life until whenever. And then after that, he was expected to serve his father and his brother. But along comes Rachel Meghan Markle, and everything changed. All of a sudden, a whole new world. Yes, it was a whole new world. A whole new world. They blame Meghan, but they really should blame themselves. Harry wanted something very simple out of life. He wanted a partner that could stand side by side with him and share the burdens of royal duty. Someone that he could have by his side, so that he wouldn't be the the third wheel or the fifth wheel in his brother's relationship. But Meghan was too capable, and she made it look too easy. Yes, right. Harry said the conveyor belt of faces stopped with Meghan. Yeah, Meghan saved him, and he had accepted whatever they wanted him to be. That is sad. Don't make me pull out that church picture. I don't want to pull out that church picture. The one that I shouldn't. I shouldn't. That picture of Harry at church, all I could think of was, what is he thinking? What is Harry thinking in this picture? It's a picture that has broken my heart time and time again. I just wasn't sure. I'm like, what is he thinking? What is he feeling in that moment? Hmm. Well, I can't find it. Although that never stopped me before. Hmm. That one. I don't know what it is about this photo that almost causes tears to well up in my eyes. My old cynical yellow bloodshot eyes. Why do I feel emotional when I look at that picture? Will and Kate by his side. Um, Edward back there looking like he's making fun of Asian people. I mean, I'm sure that's not what he's doing, but it just seems that way. And then, of course, Zara back there gossiping about God knows what. Um, Mike Tyndall um, trying to breathe out of one nostril. And of course, those grifters back there, the Michael Kent and Princess Michael of Kent. God only knows. And poor Harry, trapped in that birth, his luck of the birth order, or even being born into that family at all. All he wanted was someone by his side, and they tried to take that away from him. They wanted to run Meghan away and make sure that he just stayed alone. Mm. Could you imagine what it was like for her to see him in their intimate moments, then to see him how the others treated him in front of her? She probably didn't see the happy-go-lucky guy she loved. Yeah, Harry said that he was very angry with himself because when he needed to be a husband to Meghan, he was unfortunately stuck in that institutional Harry role. And that was something that he was not very proud of, is the fact that that brainwashing that he experienced had him stuck in that overwhelming sense of duty first. And the reason why I believe that to be true is because if you recall, thank you, Lex. If you recall, Oprah said, well, if you don't want to go, then what? He said, you just go. He said, there's a car outside for you. Your clothes, your uniform is laid out. Your bag is packed. There's no choice. You just go. Wherever they want me to go, I would just go. And also, he said he went places that the other royals didn't care to visit. If they didn't want to do it, they would usually back these things up with Harry. Harry would go. Harry would go. He goes everywhere. Now, that level of training prepared him for the role that he has now. And I won't kid you that I am bothered. I am just, it bothers me that they lie and pretend like Harry is not an incredibly successful person that he is, that he's not as capable as he is. It bothers me because they're trying to downplay this natural God given talent that he has for people and for causes. They want him to play small so that his brother can seem bigger. They want Meghan small so that Kate can seem bigger. So unfair. Carolyn Teal, thank you so much for being here. What's that? Oh, I see. Yeah, be his own person. Yeah. Adrian Burrow, thank you for joining us. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. The Sussexes are very hands on with everything that they do. And it shows, which is why they've never had a disaster like the Caribbean tour. The Oceania tour, brilliant. Nigeria, brilliant. Colombia, brilliant. Every place that they've gone, there has been absolutely no controversy, even as much as the media tried to spin the smallest things and tried to amplify things to the point where you couldn't even recognize who they were speaking of, but it's something to do with Harry and Meghan. But they have not put a foot wrong. And I insist that Meghan has not put a foot wrong. She has not. Either one of them. They have not put a foot wrong. Now, you can argue that doing the interviews and such, maybe that was something wrong, but it wasn't. They were defending themselves, they were setting the record straight. They were forced into the position of writing a book, doing a docuseries, and also doing the Oprah interview. That was forced upon them. When you leave an institution for a year and they won't stop plotting against you, then you do an interview. When you leave an institution for 2 years and they won't stop plotting against you, then you do a docuseries. You write a book. That seems like a small, I guess, problem to have for the institution, considering the huge amount of damage that the Kensington Palace and Clarence House has done to the Sussexes. The loss of an unborn child, the negative polling, and all the plots to make them lose money. And that's really, a goal of theirs is to make them unemployable so that no one will work with them. Telling foreign governments, do not give them any aid or assistance. Trying to get foreign governments to avoid giving them the same type of security that you would give to a visiting head of state. Fortunately, they didn't listen. Germany was very good to the Sussexes. The Netherlands, they were very good to the Sussexes. And needless to say, Canada, on several occasions, including when they first left from over there. And of course, and the city of New York. I mean, let's face it, aside from that one incident, when they go to New York, they are covered now. Sorted. It has all been sorted out. And this whole thing where they're just like, almost every day, there's something will jump out on my social media where a deranger or God knows who, they're trying to make people believe that Meghan does not deserve the attention that she gets. Meghan does not deserve the level of security that she gets. She just does not deserve that. But that is something that is always applied to women of color, in particular, Black women, that they do not deserve. They are unworthy, that they do not need. They don't need this, they don't need that. As long as I've lived, it's been a constant. Anytime that there's a Black person in spaces that are traditionally a white person's space, people become so preoccupied with how much it costs, how many people are put into service, what type of transportation, what are they wearing, their jewelry, their home. That is always called into question with Black people. Always. Chicago had a Black mayor. The level of death threats 100 times greater than any other mayor for the city of Chicago. Even if you combine them, it would not even reach 10% of the levels of threats that Harold Washington received. And the same as the Obamas in the White House. The big difference with those threats in particular is that they did not care that you knew who they were. They didn't care. It was a given that I said this, I said that, and I don't care what you think. They did not care that they were known. At least most of them. It was a level of threat against the Obamas like never seen before. If the first Miss America that was Black, no matter how light her skin was, it was the fact that that Negro blood was in that space. They could barely contain themselves, and they would not stop until they drove her away from her title. And Harry, poor Harry, who likes to think the best of everybody, including his family, oh boy, did he have his eyes open. His eyes were opened, and he could never unsee the hatred that he has been exposed to. He can never unsee that. Tell you a little story. Um, Two sister-in-laws went to a grocery store. White sister-in-law, Black sister-in-law. The white sister-in-law was in line first. She wrote a check for her food, and that was that. And then when the Black sister-in-law, they're from the same family now, they're one big happy family. When she attempted to write a check for her food, all of a sudden, they pulled out a list of known check bouncers. They're holding the check up to the light, looking for watermarks, everything. And even with that, they didn't want to take the check. And it doesn't matter whether it's more or less white people that have come through that store and bounced checks. That was not the point. It is a learned behavior that when there is someone black involved, that you take a much firmer stance. It is a learned behavior. And Meghan, who had rarely experienced, if ever, experienced that level of treatment, all of a sudden found herself treated as such by some of the wealthiest, most privileged people on the planet. And let me tell you, where is the applause? I'm gonna play the applause. Okay. You know what that's for? That is for however many white, Asian, um, Latino, whoever you are, that are in this space right now and have been in some cases from the start. I applaud that because we talk about some very serious things and we have a lot of fun. But I cannot remember who it was some time ago. I think it was like when I first started doing lives, and and she says, "I'm white, but I want to learn. I'm here to learn." And I was so touched by that. I was so touched by that because it'd be so much easier to just, get this information someplace else. But I applaud anyone who wants to hear the story, who wants to hear the experience of African Americans or people of African descent anywhere. I applaud anyone who hasn't turned a deaf ear, who has stuck around to hear the ugly truth or to share in the culture. I applaud that because not everybody is up to the task. Not everyone is up to the task. So I do applaud the fact that you have been here and that you have been supporting Royal Sussex or any of these other spaces. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Megan has been so generous with so many people. Do you remember when one of my favorite things was when Megan said that I don't know if it was SmartWorks or it was some women's shelter where they provided clothes that have been donated to help women get a new job and start over and such. And Megan was helping this one lady with her interview outfit, and she's pairing up this skirt and that jacket and this and that and so on and so forth. And Megan's like, "Oh, you know what? You know what'll look great if you carry this purse." And the girl was like, I don't like that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. What she didn't know is that Megan had actually donated that. She didn't know that Megan had donated that purse. This person could have been walking around with a purse that was once owned by the Duchess of Sussex. And for whatever reason, she said that person was a big no. No, no, no. I don't like it. Mm-mm, not today. Nope. Nope. And of course, when Megan told the story, she just laughed because, she's that girl. She does not mind laughing at herself. But I love that story. Yeah, yeah. I could see that. I could see that. Um, and then also, it's a lot of us that see the two of them almost as our children. They're younger, and you're watching them struggle and try to make sense out of this life they've built together, and the abuse that they've been through just for being together. And being in the US is the right place to be for them, because one thing about Americans, we always root for the underdog. We are always going to root for the underdog. Okay. Well, you guys, if you have anything else that you want to share, I'm still here. Hazel Jones, I don't think that I've seen or shared anything from you most of the evening. I do apologize for that. As you know, I'm always relying upon your input. Oh, 209. And none of those were Zoom calls. Yeah, they did mean to control Meghan. They meant to control Meghan, and they wanted to put her in her place. They desperately wanted to put her in her place. What makes a person is having a heart and always treat people the way you like to be treated. It should never come down to color. People are people, and no one is better than no one is. Yeah, I get it. No one is exactly. It should not come down to that. And really, it's the politicians. And that's why when I look at Brexit, when I look at the so-called boat people, uh, the migrants and such, and I see that they have amplified the idea that everything wrong in society is caused by a very small minority of people. Everything in society. But these are the same people that want you to believe that everything that is wrong in the world is because Harry and Meghan found each other. And while they're focusing on those things and other things, it's the stuff that we're not looking at that they're trying to distract us from. But turning one group against the other is something that powerful people do so that you don't notice that they are getting the lion's share of everything: land, wealth, privilege. as long as they keep us fighting against each other. Mm. Okay. Are we good? Are we good? Mm. Let me see. It really seems William is just validating everything that has been said about him. He suggested therapy for Harry, but never considered it for himself. How about that? I agree. He needs help. Yeah. Wealth gives you a lot of options in life, but it don't necessarily make you any happier, but you just have more options. Yeah. Yep. I always assumed that Kate doesn't have any friends, and I'm willing to accept that she does have someone as a friend, but you just never see them. So, from where we sit, I'm going to say no because I can't help but think that given the fact that Meghan has a lot of friends, she has close friends that she's known for almost 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. She has friends that go all the way back to the very early parts of her career as an actor, and also friends that go all the way back to her um, time in college. And there are plenty images of Meghan with these people. But as for Kate, knowing how much they desperately want Kate to be more like Meghan, I cannot believe she has many friends because otherwise they would have made it a point to show Kate out enjoying herself with her friends. And maybe that's why she looks so desperately sad sometimes because it seems as that when she married William, she gave up anything that resembled the old Kate Middleton. Everything gone, except for, exposing her behind to everyone. That didn't stop for a few years. Mm-hmm. Yep, you better know it. Hi, cookies and cream. Oh, yes, there is that, isn't it? Yeah, there is that. You know, it was very brave of Meghan to protect herself from her family, and I do mean all of her family, to put a barrier between herself and her family, because they would have been nothing but a distraction. They would have been nothing but trouble. You definitely would not want them hanging about. And for God's sakes, never let them near your children. Um, and as always, they're trying to paint Meghan as the one who is antisocial and doesn't have friends. But in the very modern world we live in, a lot of times our friends become our family. When I was in the hospital, September of 2024, one of my visitors I'd been knowing since maybe 1989, 99? No, 1989, I think. And another since 1993. Okay. We go way back, but they're like family to me. I tell you, on some of my worst days, it makes me feel good knowing how many friends that I've had for years. Family, yeah, that's one thing, but knowing that I've been able to cultivate these relationships all these years, that we still pick up the phone and call each other in good times, bad times. Man, I feel lucky because there are some people who do not have that. They do not have that. Let's see. Ever since Meghan told William to get his nasty finger out of her face, he's been secretly turned on by that, which explains his obsession and numerous troll burner accounts to stalk her. Yeah, he's probably just so stubborn that the more he realizes that she wants nothing to do with him, the more he's going to keep pushing. Almost like, how dare you? I'm going to be king. Oh, dear sweet Diana. What I love about Diana is that Diana recognized that she had a big platform and she wanted to use that to help people. She was determined. Diana practiced giving public speeches. Diana met with a lot of people, learned a lot, and she made herself available. Have you guys ever seen that documentary where is images of Diana, home movies, so to speak, before the smartphone, people that she went to visit that recorded these visits? There was no professional camera crew around. And Diana, when she made a promise that she will check in on someone, that was a promise kept. No matter how unknown, how, um, you know, it did not matter who the person was. It did not have to be anyone famous or anyone so important. Diana said she would be there. She'll be there. And the one kid asked Diana, "Why did you come to see me?" And Diana said, "Because when you were in the hospital and they weren't sure that you were going to survive, I promised your mother that I would check in on you. And so that's why I'm here." No doubt if Diana was a Catholic, she'd be a saint. If Diana was a Catholic, she would be a saint. I have no doubt about that. If Diana was Catholic, she would be a saint. $556 of you all. I appreciate you all being here. I was thinking about sharing. I don't know how many of you all seen the little abbreviated biography that that I put together. Let me see. I did one for Harry and one for Meghan. I think this one is Meghan's. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, is a mother, wife, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Her lifelong advocacy for women and girls remains a constant thread she weaves through both humanitarian and business ventures. Her core belief that representation matters and her connection to community have helped define her as a cultural catalyst for positive change. She was named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in 2018 and 2021. She is also noted as one of the most powerful women in the world, topping lists such as the Financial Times 25 Most Influential Women of 2022 and British Vogue's Vogue 25 Inches in 2021. She was the first guest editor in the history of British Vogue for their July issue in 2019, which was the fastest selling copy in the history of the publication. Alongside her husband, Prince Harry, she co-founded the Archwell Foundation, whose mission is Show Up, Do Good, reflecting the ways in which they work to support communities, offline and online, in ways big and small. Meghan is a New York Times best-selling author with her children's book, The Bench, and continues to create compelling content as she did in 2022 when she launched Archetypes, a record-breaking podcast which topped the charts at #1 in 47 countries and received a Gracie Award. Her 2025 Netflix series, With Love, Meghan highlights her love of entertaining and finding the joy in every day, and also complements her consumer products brand As Ever. She is the creator of Confessions of a Female Founder, a new podcast with Lemonada Media that invites listeners to be a fly on the wall for candid conversations with fellow female founders and friends. Meghan resides in California with her husband, Prince Harry, and their children, Prince Archie of Sussex and Princess Lilibet of Sussex. Together, they remain dedicated to building a more compassionate, equitable world for future generations. That's our Meghan. Yes, that is our Meghan. That is the bio that they use for the for the thing that they're going to this October. The I think it was that one for the humanitarian gala or Project Healthy Mind? That is for Project Healthy Mind. Oh, thank you, Emma D. Yeah, so that would make Charles what? Not only an adulterer, but a liar too. That proves that Charles is a liar. The king is a liar. The king has lied before. He's lied about a lot of things. So I guess that makes him a liar. So not only is he king, but he's also a liar and an adulterer. And he has fat fingers and childbearing hips. He has ears like a satellite dish. But it's those childbearing hips that always weird me out. If anyone would have told me when I had my first Royal Sussex, if anyone would have told me that all these years later, I would be referring to the King of England as having suspiciously wide childbearing hips, I wouldn't have believed it. But yet here we are. All these years later, some 63,000 subscribers. And what am I doing? Talking about King Charles III and his childbearing hips. Somebody had to say it. It'd be fun watching him getting on the subway, wouldn't it? He has to go through that little thing. That'd be fun. Does he turn sideways? Does he try to go head on or what? I say he does a little, kind of a little side action to get through. So at the very least, he won't get his pants dirty trying to, push through like regular people with those unfortunate childbearing hips. Okay, you guys, it's been 2.5 hours. I'm going to say good night or good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you all for trusting me to do this work. I promise you that is more important to me than you could ever possibly know. It is just that important to me. However, if you choose to start a membership, which costs $4.99 a month, or as little as the price of a cup of coffee, I'd also enjoy that too. Wow, Lizette, I have not rang the bell at all this Royal Sussex. This is the first time I am ringing the bell. Thank you so much for the super chat. The super chat. Yep, that is my first bell of the evening or morning. Hi, Kate M. Good morning to you too. Wouldn't it be great to just like hang out with the Sussexes? They put something on the barbecue grill. Mama Doria comes over. Kids are running around and everything. I mean, it must be like amazing to bring the kids over for a play date, like Serena brings her kids over for a play date or something like that. That's got to be amazing. I know this sounds so weird and I should probably keep it to myself, but if there were ever a day when that god awful king with those childbearing hips, if he would ever like, and I know this would never happen, but if he ever just went to California and demonstrated pride in what his son has achieved since leaving that institution. Of course, that could never happen because they don't look at life like that. But I think any child would want their parent to be proud of them and the life that they've created, you know. And I would want that for Harry's sake. But one of the squatties that has a TikTok, she said that she's starting to accept the fact that Harry may be suffering from Stockholm syndrome. And as much as I hate to believe that, it is quite possible that it must be a reason why he can't seem to effectively deal with the separation from that family. You know, and I'm certainly not judging him for that, but um, it's been a while, and it seems like no matter what, you're going to have these courtiers briefing and such, and it's going to make things difficult um, for Harry. And I don't think it's going to be any less difficult when it comes to the Invictus Games. God only knows what kind of plots they are trying to hatch. But one of the things that makes me feel a bit secure about the Invictus Games, and that is the fact that the military community, I just don't think they're going to let Harry down. I do not believe that his military brothers and sisters will let him down. So I'm going to depend on that. I'm going to be hopeful for that his military family will be there for him and support him. Oh, what is that? I heard they do that already. Uh oh, I don't know. I guess I kind of blanked out. I'm not sure what that is. Can you refresh my tea because I don't know what I was talking about. I don't know what I was talking about. I was actually sitting here talking with my eyes closed for a minute there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that after all of this stuff happened that no doubt he was turning to people in his community that deal with mental health. I had no doubt that whoever his what sponsor or like he and Serena were speaking of, um, I had no doubt that there was that going on, that he would speak with people to try to process what's happening. And thank God he's got those beautiful kids um, there, you know, that no matter what is going on, no matter how shady people are, he has those beautiful kids to come home to. Well, he is into a lot of those mystics and everything. And I was thinking about that the other day that he has a property out there in Romania, Transylvania, and all that stuff. I'm like, that's not creepy, is it? Oh, Lizette, I think that's brilliant. I think that Harry is securing his status for the future. He can say then always say that he tried to reconcile with his dad. Yes, yes, we should not forget that Harry is very strategic and very deliberate with the things that he does. And that is always something we should consider before feeling, or should I say, instead of giving in to this idea that everything is not working out and that this is not, um, you know, a winning proposition or whatever you're feeling, rather than to give in to the negative thoughts, let's remember to trust the Sussexes. We have to trust them that they're making decisions that are very sound for their family. Because if we doubt that, then it's only going to make us feel even more helpless. But as Lisette says, Harry is a strategist. We have to remember that he is maneuvering and that he's not doing this in a very weak position. He has resources, you know. It's not like he's doing this and trying to earn enough money to survive. He has money. He has the security of his family. Um, but it's the left behind royals that he's trying to work some things out. And it would be awkward for Invictus to happen without resolving these things. It would be very awkward. It would be the biggest distraction for an Invictus Games to not have his father there, or to, at the very least, to be on speaking terms with his father. And as for Charles, yes, whatever was said about perplexed and disappointed and such, that is the public face of things. Who knows what's happening behind the closed doors? That is the public face of it. And maybe that is, as Lisette says, a strategic thing that people, believe that. Maybe they want William to believe that he has more power over the situation than he actually does. It could always be that father and son have considered these things and that this is part of a contingency. That is a possibility. Lex says, unfortunately, none of this would be happening if Invictus wasn't in the UK. It is why the squad didn't want it there, because the salty Isle royals want to spoil everything. Yes, yes, there's that. Uh, Adrian says, for the monarchy to say Charles had to marry a virgin here in the 20th century, but he was laying up with many women. I'm sorry, married women. Diana was there. Royal family sacrifice. Yeah. Yeah. I think part of what triggered Diana to suffer mentally is the knowledge of knowing that you only are here to serve a purpose that your family and my family, right, set you up, arranged this situation for you so that I, Charles, may marry a virgin, backed up by physical examination. Now, if they would have tried, let me just say this, and I'll try to keep it as clean as possible. If they would have tried to examine some of those other people in the family, some of those other royal brides, um, you know, I could think of a couple of them. They would have had to weigh anchor. They could have found themselves in some void that could have proved. Oh, that's terrible. Maybe I should get off of this thing. Um, uh, all right. So, let me see. I can't be. Oh, there we go. I can't be more upset about Harry's situation than he is. If his conscience is clear, that must be good enough for me at the end of the day. Yes, Sussex Team Warrior. That is about the size of it. Reba says the veterans of Invictus will never tolerate anyone else but Harry. This is not small children like Centibale. Veterans have really been helped by Harry and Invictus Games. Yeah, Centibale is a whole nother thing because Harry and Princeso were co-founders, but the day-to-day operation did not belong to Harry. The board, the chairperson, all that kind of stuff. This is something that operated for a long time without Harry being on the ground as part of it, right? Harry has been an incredible fundraiser, but essentially, let's face it, given the credentials that pseudo doctor had, um, I don't think anybody could have seen this coming, especially since that wannabe doctor had been on the board for so many years. You just could not have seen something like this coming. It's not someone coming from the outside to take over. This was an insider. Whereas with the Invictus Games, those people are very loyal to Harry. They've been there for, since the beginning. I could not imagine them acting out against him in such a way. It's just a very different type of thing. One is a charity, the other one is, it's a sport, veteran, military stuff. It's just very different. And the infrastructure, I mean, that is provided by the nations where the games are held. So I think it's very different. And please, you guys, do not let the derangers get into your heads and convince you that they're going to oust Harry from the Invictus Games. Harry was not ousted from the Centre Ballet. He functioned as a co-founder. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. You just could not have seen that coming. It was diabolical, but that someone would try to hang on to a unpaid position. Who does that? And even if she has been influenced by, someone trying to tear down something that Harry co-founded, even if that were the case, the other thing that we know is that part of her motivation was to parlay the Centibale in and fold it into God knows whatever her private company was, that thing that she created, the medical something something, that which is difficult to explain. She was trying to link those two things together. And when the board pushed back, that's when everything began to collapse. It was paying that money for consultants. And, you know, given Harry's power, even though she was able to do the things that she's done, it's very telling that the sponsors left right along with Harry. They're like, okay, well, if he's not there, we're not there. The people that really suffer are the children. Anyone who would do this to children, anyone who would do this to children is capable of anything. I mean, who would believe that someone would do that to a child, let alone 1,000 or however many? So great was the level of desperation that Sophie even said that AIDS is no longer a death sentence. So we need to move our focus over to XYZ. That's how desperate she was. Now, I could be wrong, and God knows I hope I'm not. But the idea that someone would try to bankrupt and destroy Centibale in such a way, let's hope that never happens. Is that what it is? Seriously? Stage 4? Ugh. Now, I just thought it would have been the prostate, seeing that that's what they were looking for. Yeah, The same two people that was accused of being racist are the same two people who seem to be in the same hospital at the same time. That is something to consider. Yeah, before we assume the worst, we have to also accept how bizarre the timing of everything is. The timing is strange. So, that is something that must be taken into account. But stage 4, wow. And lung cancer. That's the first I've heard that. Well, he does wear a lot of makeup. Um, but otherwise, he seems to, his mobility does not seem to suffer. Well, do you remember, Legs, when I said that they were going to be? When listen, I'm not trying to make it sound like I knew something nobody else had figured out, but the fact that after the Sussexes left, after the Queen died, after the coronation, they won't have any big event for a long time. Now, if Charles does not survive this as long as I'm sure we all hope he does, because otherwise, I was thinking it could be 10 years or more before something like a royal wedding or a coronation. I was thinking it would be years before something like that would draw the attention of the world. But Charles' coronation, I still believe it was not all that, especially given the fact that, yeah, I just don't think it was all that. I mean, how many people thought Charles was Queen Elizabeth's husband? I don't think that anyone of a certain age really cares about Charles all that much. And as far as William is concerned, I'm going to be very curious to see what their numbers look like when he goes through the coronation. The Queen was just different because the Queen, um, let's face it, 70 years, nobody has, there's not many people alive that could remember not knowing that there was a queen in England, right? Everybody knew the Queen of England. As far as Charles is concerned, a lot of people know Charles. They know of him. A lot of people do. But they're not that crazy about him. It's not like the old days with Charles before we realized what a monster he was. So I think some of the most popularity that they'll ever have is already behind them. Oh, Fleur, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Yeah, the perplexed statement, it is abuse. It is very abusive the way that Harry has been treated and continues. That treatment continues. It is very abusive. I mean, that family abused the Sussexes in front of the world during a period of mourning for Queen Elizabeth. They did everything that they could to humiliate them. Everything. There was nothing too small or too petty that they were not capable of. And let's face it, if they could survive that, if they were able to survive that, I don't know how much worse things could get. I would say that during that period, for Harry in particular, having lost his grandmother, someone that, he treated like some type of deity or something, having lost his grandmother, I don't know how much lower that family could go than what happened at that time. But we know William is going to try. William is definitely going to try to outdo himself when it comes to pettiness. Yeah, when I'm king, such and such and such. When I'm king, such and such and such. Even with a terminal, oh, well, possible terminal illness for his father. If that was anybody else besides William that was speaking in such a bizarre way about a person going through cancer treatment, I don't believe that the press would stand for it. But because it's William, they'll make excuses for him. They'll overlook it. They'll look past it. But they dare not speak of it. Okay, you guys, it's been 3 hours. So I am going to say good night. Okay? I am going to say good night. Yes, 10 more years for Chuck. 10 more years. 10 more years. Elaine Parker, 48 months? Okay, Elaine Parker, we were just about to say good night or good morning. So, um, good night or good morning. uh, I'm sorry you weren't here sooner, but I understand. Gosh, because if it's 4 a.m. here, it's 10 a.m. there, right? Yes, it's 10 a.m. in the UK. Well, top of the morning. Okay, Elaine Parker is saying good morning, everyone. 9:45 a.m. Okay. All right. Well, top of the morning. Where's Dorothy Ross? We haven't seen Dorothy Ross here for a while. Anyway, if you're listening, Dorothy Ross, good morning to you. And also, let me see. Miss Geraldine White, Jerry White. Good morning to you. Let me see. Who else do we? Well, it's a lot of people that we haven't seen for a while. Okay, cheers, you guys. I'm gonna play the outro. Thank you so much, and I will talk. Hey, I tell you what. Let's try to come on. Oh, there's Dorothy Ross. Yay! Yay! Okay. All right. Now we're having a bit of a reunion. Elaine Parker, Dorothy Ross. Where is the church Nellies of this world? And let me see. Who else are we missing? Okay. Okay. Cheers and good night. Good morning. And let's try to come on earlier tomorrow. Yay. Okay. I have no errands to run tomorrow. So let's see what happens. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys. Love you guys. Good night.